Hey, I'm Delise.
And I'm Ginny.
We know that parenting comes in seasons, and even the smallest wins deserve a happy dance.
Join us as we chat with moms in every stage of the parenting journey, fixing our eyes on Jesus each step of the way.
This is Blessings and Motherhood, because we believe that you can hold tissues and confetti at the same time.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode with Blessings and Motherhood. We're excited for today's conversation. It's just going to be Delise and I.
Yeah, so today we thought we would do a favorites episode and just encourage you with some things that we've been thinking lately and a couple things that we are enjoying. Yeah. So that said, let's jump right in. We have a ton of questions. We might not get to all of them today, but I'm excited to chat with Jenny. She and I usually talk a lot, but lately we haven't. So I actually have these questions for you. All right, first one, what is something that you're enjoying?
Well, right now it's March and me and the kids really are enjoying the warmer weather. We are outside a lot more. You know, I remember back in the fall, I told myself we are going to be outside even when it's cold. Even on those really cold North Carolina days, I'm going to be outside. And I will be honest with you guys, that did not happen as much as I wished it did. But we have really been enjoying that right now. We're also in Memory Master season with my kids, and I'm really enjoying it. Banks did Memory Master last year. And I loved the extra time that gave me with him just to teach him, go through it with him, help him through challenges. And so this year he wanted to do it again. Lila's doing it this year as well. It's her first time being second time through cycle 3. And it's grown all of us a lot. And to see their love of learning in a different way that's bringing out in them has really been exciting to see their study skills, to see where they need to work on, to celebrate them when they do. Like we're almost there. It's almost time for us to do our first parent proof, for those of y'all who know what that is. And so we did a practice proof this week. So I went through all the information with them just like I would if I was proofing them. And Lila got so excited because she did it with no helps.
Nice.
And just to be able to celebrate her and see the accomplishment we started listening to these songs last summer. And now we're here almost a year later and she's getting it. That's been really fun.
That's so cool. Can we back up just in case people don't know what you're talking about? Define it really quickly. What are your kids trying to do?
Yeah. So with CC, they have this thing called Memory Master, and you take all 24 weeks of the information that we've been going over in the CC Foundations Guide, and the kids basically just memorize it, and there's certain prompts that they'll have. So for instance, one of our history sentences this year is, tell me about Columbus. And you guys know CC uses songs, and they say, in 1492, Columbus made the first of 4 trips to the Caribbean on 3 Spanish ships named the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. So they have to do that by memory. And so there's 24 songs for history. You go through all 7 subjects. It's history, science, math, English, Latin, geography, and they have to sing that whole timeline song by memory, guys. And it is amazing to see how far they come when they have been working all year towards this goal.
Yeah.
And it's really just, it's exciting to celebrate. It's nothing big really outside of the classical conversations world, but they know, I think this year it's something like they memorize over 600 and some facts. And it's a big accomplishment for them.
Yeah.
So that's what Memory Master is.
Right. And even more than it being something that they just know later on in life, they actually come to understand what the facts mean. So it really is kind of the beautiful example of the grammar stage where you're just learning a bunch of information. You're not trying to unpack it, but then later on, they will be able to unpack it and they'll have this really nice foundation, which is why we call it foundations, of knowledge that they can apply without having to then learn the facts. When you're trying to do chemistry, you already know the periodic table or something like that. So it's really cool.
It really is. And we've been watching this show. It's I think we subscribe to the Daily Wire stuff, and they have PragerU, and there's a lot of history game shows for kids on there that we've been watching lately. So we'll watch that with our kids and we'll pause it after they ask the question and we'll say, do you guys know the answer? Well, one of them was I think it was about Abraham Lincoln, and whatever was in his time or something. It said 1860, and they were like, "Oh, mommy, in 1861 the Civil War began." And I was like, "That's your history sentence." Yes. What else happened in 1860? And they were like, "Oh, well, in 1868 the 14th Amendment made all former slaves U.S. citizens." Mommy, was that related to Abraham Lincoln? And it is amazing to see them connect those little pieces of information that they hear from other sources. So that's really what I've been enjoying. And then this week specifically, real quick, we have a spring market with our CC community this Saturday. Oh, so we've been talking also about business and how to run your own business. And so, of course, you guys know I'm a baker. Hence the treats today. Mm-hmm. And so my kids wanted to make cookies, and we're dipping marshmallows in chocolate, and I'm making macarons and helping them, but they're helping me bake it. We've been talking about how to sell and stuff. So I've really this week enjoyed baking with the kids. David's enjoyed teaching them about business because he's an entrepreneur. And then we get to celebrate that this Saturday at our little spring market.
That's so fun. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So what about you, Delise? What is something that you're really enjoying in this season of your life?
Well, I will answer your question. I have to follow up because this is bothering me.
Okay.
Do they memorize the periodic table? I don't know, y'all.
Not the whole one.
No.
So there's 3 weeks that you, the question is, what are the first 4 elements of the periodic table by number, symbol, element, and mass? Okay. Y'all don't quote me on that exactly, but they have 3 weeks of that. So they learned the first 4, then the second 4, and then the third 4. So so we learned just a little chant. So my kids can say 1, hydrogen, H, 1, 2, beryllium, Be, 4, whatever it is. So they do learn the first 12.
Got it. Okay. And now I can answer your question. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, all right, what am I enjoying? Right now, what I wrote down, it's more of a state of mind than it is something specific, but I'm enjoying knowing what I like and embracing it. I feel like I've often known what I've liked, but I felt distracted by what I thought maybe other people would think of what I like, or being excessively accommodating, I think is how I'll put it. And so I'll give you a couple of examples how this has come out, but it's just felt really freeing and fun for me lately. So one example would be a little bit ago, I wallpapered our pantry, and I used this really loud floral dark green wallpaper.
Sounds pretty.
It's beautiful to me.
Yeah.
And, ordinarily in the past, I would have been like, oh, well, what if we try to resell our house? And is this really a practical choice? And I know it's kind of loud. Are people going to think it's distracting? But this time I was just like, you know what? I love this. It makes my heart sing. I'm going to put it on the wall. And then I just moved on. And every time I see it, it makes my heart sing. And it's just been nice. It's like injecting those little moments of joy unapologetically in an honoring way. I'm not trying to be rude, but just there's nothing wrong with picking the wallpaper that you like and moving forward. Mm-hmm. And then another way that it's applied, and I feel like moms will really relate to this, has been what I eat for lunch. So we're coming up on 10 years of marriage. And, when you're trying to figure out what everyone will eat and what everyone will like, oftentimes you want to buy something that's not going to get wasted. Mm-hmm. And I'm still in that mindset. But for years, I just wouldn't make the Mediterranean food I like, or I like grain bowls and stuff like that, because I was thinking to myself, well, I should eat the leftovers from dinner so those don't get wasted. And then, Evan doesn't really like Mediterranean, so let me just not buy that. It's not going to get wasted. I'm going to eat it.
You get to eat all of it, Delise.
Exactly. And so I've just been having like a ton of fun with lunch, because now I'm eating what I love, and then I don't have to worry about, trying to serve it for dinner and then having people say they don't like it. It's okay. We'll eat something else for dinner. It's for me. So I know that's not a huge epiphany, but I think that can apply to a lot of us. Sometimes we do these acrobatics to accommodate everyone in areas where we can just be who God created us to be, or like what we like for the season and move on. Mm-hmm. So it's been really freeing, honestly. I'm having fun.
That's awesome. And that is important, because as moms, we really do think a lot about our family, right? Mm-hmm. We think, how can I serve my husband? He really likes X, and you want to get that for him. My kids like this, and I want to get that for them. And we put ourselves last sometimes, but it's really cool that you're seeing that in yourself and like, I'm going to enjoy this too. And who knows, because maybe Leo takes a bite of it and he learns to love Mediterranean food.
And that's what's happening.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it's been fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love that. Next question. So Delise, what are you doing for your devotional time? Because I know a lot of us would love to hear different ideas.
So I am going back through my chronological Bible. I can show you this one. There are lots of different ones, but this is the one that I have. I've had it for years, and it's technically a 1-year chronological Bible. You can look at it.
Yeah.
I like it for early in the morning because y'all know I'm not a morning person. And this particular one, although I wouldn't call it the most accurate translation, we all have our opinions of translations. It's NLT, so it's really conversational. And when I'm reading something in as large quantities as a 1-year would be, I need to get the gist and not get caught up on some of the language. So I personally like this one, but I'll tell you, I'm not reading everything that they have for each day. I think I'm still in February and it's March right now, so I'm a little behind.
Is that just because of time or?
Yeah, it's because I wanted to take my time in Exodus. So I kind of slowed myself down a little bit.
Curious. Why did you want to take your time in Exodus?
Because I hadn't read it in a while. And so I felt like, if I speed through this just to get the gist, I'm not going to be able to get the gist because I can't even really remember some of these details. Yeah. So I just slowed myself down and taken little baby chunks, that and then daylight savings time. Oh my gosh. So Leo's
get anybody else?
Yeah. So Leo's been getting up a little earlier, which is fine, but that has shifted when I can read. So that's what I'm reading.
I love that. It's really fun and pretty too.
I like the way mine looks. Yeah. What about you?
What is it called? The 1-year chronological Bible. I love it.
What are you reading?
So personally right now, I am going through the Psalms.
Ooh.
And this kind of came from my pastor. This was back at the beginning of the year. He was talking, and I think there's an app called something like the 5 Psalms or something like that. And the picture of the app, it's like, I think a hand like that or something. And he was using that, but he went a little further with it. So the whole point was you can read 5 Psalms every day and get through all of Psalms in a month, I believe it was. There's that many Psalms or something. And then in each Psalm, he has the 5 P's that he would think through. So the first one is there's always a praise, there's a perspective, there's a provision, there's a protection, and there's a promise from God in all of the Psalms. And he kind of showed us that you can go through each Psalm and write it down. So that's what I've been doing in my journal. I write out those 5 things, give myself some space because I love to write. And I read the Psalm through, and then I go back and see, okay, where, if David wrote that certain Psalm, where was David praising God, or what was he praising him for? Or, and what different perspective did David or whoever was writing it, what perspective of God do I see in this? How did God provide something for whoever it was? How did he protect them? And then what was the promise that God gave in that Psalm? And it's been really amazing to go through it in that way. And I'm actually not doing 5 Psalms a day though, because I'll be honest, it takes a long time. Because if you really want, like you were saying, if you really want to hone in on something and you don't want to read it fast and you want to try to understand it, it's important to know your limit, right? So I'm just doing 1 Psalm a day. So I'm still in I think I did Psalm 57 this morning. It's a shorter one. And some of them I'm really struggling, okay, I don't see where there was a different perspective here. But if I keep going back and rereading it, God, show me what you have for me in this. He has always shown me those 5 things, even in these short little Psalms. And it's been really neat to just see it in a different way and ask God, I don't always ask God, show me something in this scripture. I forget to ask that when we should be asking him that, right? So that's been really good. And it's going to take me a while because I do 1 a day. And there's how many Psalms? 140, 50? 150, I think. Yeah. So it'll be what I do for a while, I guess. And then on the other side of that, I do a separate devotional with my kids, and we are reading the Bible. We're just going through it. We started in Genesis, and we're kind of taking our time as well. And I'm just reading scripture to them. I have found I've had to skip a few things.
I was just about to ask you. I was literally just about to ask you, what are you doing for those passages?
Yeah, there were some things in Genesis, and there have been some things in Exodus. You know how we can eventually read a little bit ahead, and I was like, I can't see that verse. Lord, forgive me, but we'll get to that part later in their life. However, I did not catch some things, and they had a lot of questions like, did it say that person married his sister?
Mhm.
Mommy? I thought we weren't supposed to marry our sister. So we have gotten to a lot of fun conversations. Colby doesn't really catch on. She's listening. Lincoln is listening, my 5-year-old and my 3-year-old. Lila and Banks are the ones asking the questions. And they, it's going back to that whole suitcase issue that Camilla talked about a few episodes of, that's a suitcase issue, sweetie, because we've talked about the Corrie ten Boom story. I'll tell you more about that later.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we just did the 10 Commandments. So we're in Exodus as well. And it's just really neat because afterwards, what I asked them is, so what did you hear? What stuck out in that scripture to you? So that's really, I'm trying to get them to just listen to the story. We're not getting too theological quite yet. And honestly, that's because I'm still learning all of that myself. But that's where we are. And it's been fun to see the kids get inspired. Or like, oh, Mommy, I know the 10 Commandments. And they start singing about the 10 Commandments. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so we're going to switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about food. What is your go-to dinner or meal that you are making right now?
Yeah, for dinner, we love egg roll in a bowl. Have you ever heard of egg roll in a bowl?
Tell me how you do it. I'm picturing something, but I don't know if it's what you do.
Yeah, so you know what an egg roll is. You wrap it up in like a rice paper normally. You can fry it or you can have spring rolls, which is what Vietnamese culture has a lot. And my husband is Vietnamese and his mother has taught me how to make these spring rolls and they are amazing. But essentially, we're just taking the wrapper off. So I make ground whatever we do. We've done chicken before. We've done turkey to be healthier. Sometimes we do pork and beef too, but I'll mix maybe 2 meats up or something and stir fry that with some spices. It's a lot of sesame oil and a little bit of soy sauce, ginger, things like that. So get those Asian type flavors in the meat. Add carrots to it. I had to think about it, and cabbage. And that's really all I add, but you can add anything you want and you kind of stir fry that together. And then we put it over a bed of rice. Just plain white rice is what my family loves. You could probably do anything you want, but that is literally it. It's a one-pan thing, except I cook the rice separate, or you can cook it in a rice cooker, which my husband loves to do because I've never been good at cooking rice. I don't know if y'all can feel me on that right now, but it's either still really hard or it's way too mushy. So rice cooker for the win. You just put it in a bowl. So kind of like a lot of people do burritos in a bowl. Yeah. But that's my go-to. My kids love it. They don't like the cabbage. So sometimes I'll take it before I put the cabbage in. I'll save them a little to the side. But like I was telling you earlier, one time I forgot to do it and they tried it and Lila and Colby were like, Mommy, I like cabbage. I was like, that's right, you do. Yeah. So that's a go-to. And then now, especially since it's been warmer, even really in the winter months, we really love to grill. And finally, last summer, we got a really good grill. Like we spent a little bit more money on a grill that can smoke as well. It uses the pellet thingies. And we love to just grill. I'll say, David, I got this meat. Can you grill it? Are you going to be home in time? He'll be like, yep. I'll marinate it. And then I do a lot of steamed vegetables. We don't do a lot of casseroles or things that you put a lot of stuff in. It's just basics. We'll do a meat. We'll do a steamed vegetable. And I might have like a starch or something. And that's about it. We love homemade potato chips as well. Baked in the oven.
That sounds
if you've
fun.
ever tried to do that. You cut the potatoes up and you put what you want on them and you put them in the oven.
I feel like I need to try that.
You should.
The guys in my family love chips, and I'm always looking for a way to do it in the healthiest way possible and, cut down on some chemicals, some salt and stuff like that. So I'll have to definitely try that.
Yeah, it's really nice because you can put as much salt on it as you want. You don't have to use the oil if you don't like very oily things. And like I add Parmesan cheese to mine. Ooh. We add a little garlic to ours sometimes. And David really likes truffle fries. So he came home one day with this bottle of truffle oil.
Oh, we've got truffle stuff.
Oh, yeah, girl. Oh, well, of course you do. You're going to have a truffle one. We'll get our oil from you down the road.
Perfect.
But I'll dribble a little bit of truffle oil on the pan and it's a great side. Yeah. Sometimes all we do is burgers and fries. David grills the burgers. And I do the fries, and that's it.
That's awesome.
But anyways, what's your go-to meal, girl?
Okay, so right now my go-to is chicken divan. Have you had that?
Say it again.
Chicken divan.
That's Indian.
Is it? I don't think it's Indian.
It's not Indian.
I don't know about that.
I'm so wrong.
It's okay. I think it's like a 70s or 80s. I have
Tell
not
me about
Googled that, but it feels like a retro casserole to me.
Okay.
But it's something that I learned from Evan's mom.
Okay.
And basically, go classic casserole in your mind. So you got your frozen broccoli, you've got your chopped chicken, you have your cheddar cheese, an egg, some kind of a cream of chicken or etc. Mayo, because we're going classic
Absolutely.
casserole. And you just you can add actually curry. So maybe that's why you were thinking it's Indian, because we like to add curry to it sometimes. Okay. But you season it, to taste, and then you pop French's fried onions on the top, kind of thing. And you bake it until it's nice and crispy and melted. And I love it because everything's in the one spot and you don't have to thaw anything to make it. So I'll take leftover cold chicken from whatever we had. It doesn't matter how it was seasoned. Chop all the chicken up, get all the veggie up. I will say it always backfires when I use fresh broccoli. Something about the amount of water in it kind of messes me up. But
makes it more soupy.
Yeah. But I'm sure you can, combat that if you know your cooking science better than I do. But all that to say, that's a really fun one. And then we serve that over rice.
Nice.
Because we're white rice people too
right.
in our
there
cooker. I can cook it other ways, but we just like it that way. So that's one really big go-to. And then another really fun one that's way faster is heaping nachos. So I've started taking, you can get the restaurant style tortilla chips at the store. Those are my favorite too. Thank you.
Gotta go there.
How did I not know to get the restaurant style ones? I love them so much. It makes me feel like I'm in some special place, and I'm at home. So I put those on the pan, and then I put some kind of a meat. Again, any leftover meat I have. If it doesn't have that good Spanish food taste, I'll add some Spanish seasoning to it, maybe toss it a little bit. And then I'll add cheese, and I get crazy with the sauces. So this is my opportunity to try to enjoy cooking. So sometimes I'll call it the green machine, and then I'll add, anything green and spicy in that Spanish food
salsa verde.
Yeah, salsa verde, just whatever. Or I'll make it super spicy, and we'll go for different forms of hot. I've been adding Chick-fil-A sauce, honestly, to it because it gives that good smoke to it on the back end. I'll chop lettuce and put it on the top after I cook it. And we just sit down with the whole pan and just eat that. So that's been fun.
So you don't have to do dishes. Cleanup's going to be easy, and it's just one pan. I mean, that's win-win-win.
Exactly. And because, we use cloth napkins and forks and knives. So it's a very casual form of eating that feels fresh and new for us too when we do it that way. So super fun.
I love that. I've seen these things on Instagram where people will just put a tablecloth on and they just put it right on the table and let everybody eat off of it. And I think that would be fun to do every once in a while. Yeah. I think my kids would really think that would be fun, but that sounds very similar. I might have to try that.
You might have to try it.
Yeah. Banks has been loving nachos as well, which is just chips, and he puts cheese and heats it up.
Nice.
Honestly, but we can go a step further and add the meat and add the veggies. Oh, I can't say that. And add the lettuce, even some peppers.
Yeah, exactly. So lots of options there.
Yeah. So, Delise, what are you listening to these days?
Okay, I think when you put this question down, you were looking for a music recommendation. I'm sorry, no music came to mind. So I'm going to tell you what I'm actually listening to these days.
It's what you're listening to. It doesn't have to be music.
Right, exactly. So at the time when I wrote this, was listening to a dramatized Jane Austen collection.
Fun.
I tend to listen to things on repeat. So if I find some kind of an audio that I really like, to me, it's like watching your favorite movie again. But I found this one a while back, and it does all of her different books. And it feels like you're there, in the living room with them, or you're there at the table eating with them. And I love it too, just because it's such a different time period than the things that we experience, but the types of conversations and the values that they have are very similar. People are people. So it transports me to a different world, but I feel like it still kind of keeps me grounded, and it's fun. So
yeah. Hey guys, are you maybe planning a trip to Washington, D.C. soon? Well, if so, you need to visit the Museum of the Bible. You can visit our classical conversations at the Museum of the Bible webpage. You can go on a scavenger hunt to find the timeline wall, or learn about artifacts and educational exhibits from the Classical Conversations Timeline Song. You're able to watch live performances and stimulating classes, engaging crafts and activities at their education station, and more. Don't forget to grab your 50% off CC discount code from the members resource document in the CC Connected Learning Center. If you don't have any plans to visit Washington, D.C., don't worry. The Museum of the Bible offers live, interactive, virtual educational programs for students in Foundations through Challenge. Many of these programs align with our Foundations and Essentials cycles and the Challenge strands, and it engages parents and students with the history, narrative, and impact of the Bible. You can arrange for one of these virtual field trips just for your family or for your whole community. Now, whether you're planning for an in-person trip or just visiting from the comfort of your home, learn more about classical conversations at the Museum of the Bible. Go to the link in the show notes. Now, let's get back to the show. Is it in like that old English at all or just?
It's Jane Austen.
I love that. Yeah. That is my favorite.
Yeah. So it's very beautiful.
Mm-hmm. When do you find the time to listen to these things? Because I know that's been hard for me. I know I'm at home and I could put even a podcast on or something, but it's still really hard for me to think to do that or to pay attention to what I'm listening to. So when do you find the time to listen to those things?
That's such a good question. Typically when I'm listening to Jane Austen, I am in the shower. Sometimes I'm in the car. I notice, because I also listen to a lot of podcasts and I listen to music, but I notice for this particular genre, if I just need a mental break, that's when I'm doing it. So maybe we had a super stimulating outing and Leo and I both just need a second. That's when I'll turn it on. Or if I'm going to take a really long drive and I need to not feel anxious about what I'm listening to ending before I get to my destination, I'll put on my book. So those times, and then sometimes right before I go to sleep, I'll put it on.
That's awesome.
What about you?
Suggestions. So yeah, I went to music. We listened to a lot of music in my house. I was always one of those that when I was studying for something in college or something, I would have music on in the background and it helps soothe me. So of course, I mentioned Memory Master earlier. We've been listening to the Classical Conversations CDs a lot. I hate to say it, but yeah, I sing those songs all the time. But other than that, me and the kids have been listening to the Wonka soundtrack. Have you seen this movie yet?
Not yet. It's on my list. We're reading Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So now I feel like I have to finish the book again before I watch the movie. All
right. We watched this movie the other week. We've read Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. My kids have seen the old version with Gene Wilder in it. Well, most of them. I don't think Colby did, but Binks and Lila have seen that. And that was nostalgia for me watching that movie. And so when Wonka came out, I, of course, was skeptical at first. I was like, David, I don't know. These movies these days, I'm not into a lot of them. And you just don't know what's going to be in it. But David's like, I've heard really good things. And it was recommended by well-trusted friends. So I said, okay, well, let's watch it. And if it gets too bad or whatnot, we'll stop it. Well, by the end scene, I'm in tears. And it was just so nostalgic. My kids were looking at me like, Mommy, are you okay? And I was like, yes, but my kids loved the music in that. And I don't think it's meant to be a musical, but of course they have the soundtrack out on Spotify, which is what we use. And it has been in our car for 2 weeks now. I think that's how long ago we watched this movie. David loves a good soundtrack. And so he found it one day when we were in the car, and it's like all my kids want to listen to, besides their Memory Master work. But we're singing about chocolate. We're singing about our imaginations, because of course, pure imagination's in that thing. And it's a sense of nostalgia, and it's fun for me. Yeah. And the guy that wrote the music just did a phenomenal job at evoking emotion in people with the chords that he used, with the minor and the major key changes. It's just a phenomenal soundtrack. Even if you don't want to watch the movie, if you're not into that, to listen to the songs is just really fun. And the guy that sings them, the actor, I would never have imagined his voice like it is in this movie.
Sings it?
He sings it. And it's the same guy that's on other movies that you're just like, that guy's singing? Like, they did a phenomenal job.
Wow.
So we are listening to that soundtrack a lot. Yeah.
Love it. I can't wait to listen to it. I'm excited. All right, Jenny. So what is something that you are trying to learn?
All right. When I looked at this question, I didn't know if this needed to be like deep or not. Mine's not deep. I'm really trying to learn how to make Vietnamese coffee right now.
Yeah.
So, of course, we own coffee shops and stuff, but I love Vietnamese coffee. When we go visit David's aunt, she makes the best pot of Vietnamese coffee. Do you know what Vietnamese coffee
You have
is?
to tell me again. I can't remember.
So it's really, you put evaporated milk, like 2 or 3 tablespoons, I think, like in the bottom of your glass. And then there are these tiny little French roaster or French press that you can put on top of glasses. And you just put the coffee grounds in it. And you usually want to use like a medium to dark roast. We haven't used a dark enough one yet. We've been trying to make this. And I'm like, David, that needs to be darker. You just pour hot water and you let it seep through. And it goes into the evaporated or sweetened condensed milk. And you stir it in. And I always put it with ice. Okay. So we've been trying to make this at home. David invested in some little French presses, which we don't even have a big one. He's not a coffee guy because he doesn't like the way it tastes. So he's doing this for me, which is so fun, and to potentially put in our shops, of course. But it's been really fun just to see the history of it. It's a lot more fun too because it's the culture of our kids as well, and they're learning about it, and they've tried it with me. I'd love it if my kids were coffee people one day because my husband is not. It's fine. He loves his chai. Just give me my coffee. So it's been really fun learning about the history of Vietnamese coffee and where it came from and what could we do to it and how do we make this at home. So
that is so cool. Let us know when you get it. When you get it, show us. Obviously, you can keep your proprietary information, but when you get it, I want to see it on Instagram. I want a video.
I'll try to remember to like the process we're working on right now because I'm not ashamed to post something and then be like, yeah, that didn't work, but it's okay. We'll try this next time. It's definitely that trial and error scientific method, if you will, of trying it out. The kids are seeing us try these different things out too. And they're trying to come up with ideas. Well, Mommy, what if you did this? Because it said to use a dark coffee. This says medium roast, Mommy. What if you used, is there a dark roast, Mommy? So like fun questions like that. They're going through it with us too.
Cool. I love it.
Yeah. How about you? What are you learning these days?
Okay, 2 things. One, kind of like yours. I am trying to learn to make bread again. This is something I was taught, but I just haven't done it in a while. And because I grew up with it a specific way, I kind of want to do it the way that I grew up with it.
What is this way?
What I mean is, so my mom always milled our wheat berries. So I like the taste of that bread. So that's the taste I'm after.
Okay.
I don't have my mill yet, but I'm working on it. And then I actually am going to do artisan bread first, I think. I've done it once. I've also done bagels a couple of times. And a sweet friend of mine just taught me how to do it. So I've been trying to practice that. And then the other thing is just really honest. I'm trying to learn to keep my kitchen clean.
Love it.
Because I am one of those people, my house is not dirty, but my counters are not usually totally cleared off. And it's something that doesn't really bother me until it bothers me. So I'm trying to relearn it being a higher priority, if that makes sense. Because if I'm going to choose people over cleaning, I'm choosing people.
Right.
And sometimes that bites you in the end. So that's what I'm working on.
I love it. Maybe this can help you. I just recently saw someone post, I keep up with things, and they called it putting their kitchen to bed.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen these things?
Definitely.
And the whole family gets together and does it together. And that's what we've been doing. So I say, let's put the kitchen to bed after dinner. And everybody helps out with their chores. Even Lincoln. Lincoln can get dishes out of the dishwasher, or he can put them in the dishwasher. I have a little broom for him to sweep up things. It may not be perfect, but they're still helping. And because I'm like you, I have to have a clean counter before I go to bed. Like, it is just my thing. David knows this. I just have to wake up because we homeschool. I think that's part of it too. Like, I need a clean counter when I wake up in the morning. So maybe y'all can put the kitchen to bed and everybody can help. And that's people-oriented as well. And we are not ashamed as well to invite our friends if they want to help us clean up. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
They're like, what can we do? Well, here, I have a list of things you can. And I am like, because that's how I want to be treated in someone's house. I want to be their family, and families help clean up together. So when people are there, I'm like, hey, we'll get it done faster.
Exactly. Yeah. It's bonding.
That's something cool to learn. All right. Delise, you're so fashionable. First off, To me, I am not. What is a favorite piece of clothing or a favorite outfit that you've been wearing today so that you can inspire me? Because girl, do you see what I'm wearing? Jeans and a sweatshirt.
That's what I wear most of the time. Thanks, Ginny. Wow.
You're always so cute when you come here. And I am just one that I'm comfort over cuteness. Unfortunately, that's my personality. But you are probably comfort and cuteness. And I need to learn to be that way.
Yeah, I have a rule. Thank you. You're being very, very kind. I do have a personal rule that if it doesn't feel like pajamas, I don't want to wear it. So that has made me have to find things that I thought looked good but feel very comfortable. For example,
I was about to say that dress is so cute, but I would never be able to find that dress. Where'd you find it?
My mom. Sorry.
Look at there. Can I order from your mom?
I think it came from like a QVC type website or magazine or something like that. We have looked and looked for this dress again, just to be specific, because we call it the magic dress, because you can dress it up or dress it down.
Yeah.
And it's this heavy jersey material if you're not watching on YouTube, which you can see it if you watch on YouTube. But it looks like it's two parts. It does. It's not. It's just one. It's just a dress. And it's so easy. So my go-to is not actually this specific dress, but it's just a maxi dress. I find that if I don't know what to wear, and I know this is a very basic answer, but it's the truth. If I want to feel put together and I don't know what to wear, simplifying my choices is the answer. One dress, one set of shoes. Yeah. Leave. So that's what I like.
Where do you find a lot of your dresses, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, that's such a good question. Well, I'm a thrifter, so I do hunt a lot. I don't care if it's 20 years old. In fact, I love it. I love it if it's older. It's interesting to me. So I thrift a lot. I look a lot for silhouettes instead of brands. So I'll search online or through Pinterest because, now if you're on Pinterest, it can show you how to shop for a certain silhouette. So I'll search online for, say, long sleeve t-shirt maxi dress. Okay. And then I'll just scour and tell myself, this is how much I want to pay. I want it ethically made, or I want it made out of these materials. And I'll literally just look through every single one I can find until I find the one that fits my description, what I have in my head. Yeah.
Do you have a process you go through in knowing if it's a good website to order something from? Because that's where, I'm bathing suit shopping right now. Yeah. It's coming to that time, but I look at these websites and I don't know if they're like a legit website or not.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to pretend to have all those answers. I will say I'm really big on reading reviews. Yeah. If it's something like that, I read the reviews. If you don't have at least 3 people who look like they didn't get paid wearing an example of it, I tend to feel skeptical. That doesn't mean that it's not a real one. Right. But that's going to sell me a little bit faster if I can see it on a girl just like me and she's saying, I liked this, but I didn't like that. Then I can get a better idea of it. But yeah, I shop all over. Sorry. Yeah. What about you?
Well, I'm wearing my favorite one. I wore it for you guys. This is a sweatshirt. And we actually had Erica Kirk on the show back in January, I think. But it is the sweatshirt from her company called Proclaim Streetwear. And this isn't even a plug. I love this sweatshirt. Not only does it have a good message, it's I don't know if you can see it. Where is it? It's got a little lion over here. It's one of their symbols from their website. And then it's got a passage right here. This one has got Psalm 61:1 on it, which is nice. And it's made here in America. And it is the softest sweatshirt I have ever owned. And I wear it all the time. I wear it to CC. I wear it to bed. I wear it when it's hot. I wear it when it's cold. I love sweatshirts though. I love cozy things too. I love PJ feeling things. So this is my go-to sweatshirt.
Okay, let's talk about places. What is your favorite place to go by yourself or with your kids, your family?
Right now, we've been enjoying the local dog park.
Yes.
But this local dog park is a no-leash park, but it's not fenced in. And we didn't know that at first. We got there and I was like, David, I don't know if Winston is our little Aussie Doodle 6-month-old puppy.
So cute.
I was like, I don't know if Winston can handle this. Are we okay with him off leash? Which we tried it out and he did great. Thank the Lord. We've got a great puppy and we've somehow trained him pretty well. Yeah. And we have been going every Sunday since we go to church on Thursdays. We have our whole Sunday free. Every Sunday morning we go to the dog park. We see all of the people with their pugs. There's a pug group that comes and there's a little dog track. like the in and out thing and the teeter-totter or whatever. And the kids will play on that with Winston. And David and I they have chairs out there. We'll sit. It's almost like a date. And we just enjoy the dog park. And it's in the woods. It's almost like hiking trails too. And then they have these little areas of fields where the dogs can run and play. They have water for the dogs. They have bags to pick up things. They have toys out there. They have chairs and tables for people to just sit and enjoy. There's a creek if the dogs want to swim. There's trees. Like, it's just been really fun, and we didn't know about it until we got a dog. So that was just a local place that we can go and have fun as a family.
That's awesome.
And then when I'm by myself, I do love to go to our coffee shop. Not trying to plug anything, but the local coffee shop is fun. I love the atmosphere. I love the coffee there. I love seeing our staff as well. But I also am enjoying local shopping. This was what I was thinking about too when we were talking about outfits. Is I love to go into these local shops and see what they have and be able to support local businesses, because I am also a local business, but I still think it's so great to give back to the community. And I used to never really do that, go shopping by myself downtown, but it has been so fun. Like the other day, me and the kids were walking downtown. There is a park that we like to go play at. But we went to this local bookstore, and in this bookstore, I had no idea, in this bookstore, there's like a creation museum. It's a Christian bookstore. There's this creation museum where they have to turn the lights on for you, and you like go down into their basement, and they just have all of this, and it's not creation. They are a Bible-based bookstore, but it's like old tools and stuffed animals. They're taxidermy animals, but it's all these things from just way back in the day that they've collected and they have on display. They have Bible verses down there as well to walk through. Super fun place to go. And it's just in this random bookstore, and the kids loved it, and it's free. It was donation based. Like right at the end of it, before you exit it, they ask for a donation, you know? And then they sell fudge there too. Like if you go in these stores, you just never know what you're going to find. And that's been really fun for us. We have a friend that owns a local shop as well. And of course we own one, and to build those relationships with the local business owners is just super fun. And knowing that you're helping a family out is just an added bonus.
Yeah. Well, I have definitely enjoyed chatting about the different things that we are discovering, things that we're finding fun. We would love to know from you guys what you're loving these days. We will definitely have a post over on social media where you can comment and share ideas with each other just to encourage each other. I think sometimes it's important for us to take a break from the more challenging aspects of being a parent and of life just in general, and remember and take the time to just remember what's beautiful and what we can celebrate. This show is about holding tissues and confetti at the same time. And I think that confetti part is something you just got to be intentional about.
Yeah. And I really love listening to other moms and talking with other moms, getting their ideas and their perspectives. I may not agree with everything someone says, but that's okay, right? It's always good to have the conversation. I think, one of the reasons when they asked me actually to be on this podcast, I was so nervous, but I was like, I really don't even mind being the fly on the wall in a conversation, because hearing what other people have to say, for instance, I would have never thought to make simple syrup with cider, but now I might go try that and go look that up. And to get all of these ideas from other moms it's really invaluable, honestly. It's why we're in community with each other.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you enjoyed the show, we would love it if you would share it. If you haven't yet subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. You can follow us on YouTube so you can see some of the things that we're talking about. And we will talk to you soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.